In the divisive and polarizing landscape of motorcycling, there's one thing we all seem to agree on. We don't like Ruroc helmets. Gixxer squids, cloud goblins, Harley bros, we all seem to be in agreement. To be honest, it's a little refreshing that we're all on the same page for once. It's one of the few things that even the R Motorcycles hive mind seems to get right. Ruroc equals bad. If this is such a universal truth these days, why are we even still talking about it? Well, Ruroc has made news in the last few weeks by entering a self-imposed administration and then buying itself back. And in layman's terms, this shell game indicates their finances aren't exactly looking good. This discovery prompted an internal investigation here at Yamanoob HQ about how we've kind of seen the rise and fall of Ruroc happen in real time. Their influencer mouthpieces have been dropping their Ruroc sponsorships left and right, and they've been kind of waning from the public eye. I mean, I don't really see Ruroc on my feed as much as I used to, except for showing up as the punchline for an offhanded joke. So today, we're going to investigate the rise and fall of Ruroc helmets and figure out once and for all why exactly they're the most hated helmet company online. Let's get into it. So Ruroc is only even making headlines these days because they are in the midst of some shady financial footwork. On September 12, 2025, Ruroc Limited officially entered administration, which is corporate speak for if a company can't pay its debt, instead of going straight into liquidation, an outside specialist takes control of the company in an attempt to stabilize, restructure, and protect assets, etc. In the case of Ruroc, PricewaterhouseCoopers were appointed as joint administrators, but in a move that reeks of corporate sleight of hand, within days of administration, all of Ruroc's business and assets were sold to a newly incorporated company, Titan PG Limited, which, surprise, surprise, is owned entirely by the same parent company, Ruroc Global Holdings Limited. Wow, imagine that! In short, Ruroc went broke and bought themselves, essentially playing a shell corp game, moving assets from one company to the next while leaving liabilities and debts under the old entity, screwing over suppliers and creditors. This signals a handful of things. It's clear that Ruroc is in a bad way, and they sought a legally defensible way to preserve the brand, operators, and IP while avoiding debts. Unsecured creditors now must file claims and are probably only going to recoup a small fraction of what they're owed. Looks like Disney was left high and dry for all those IP licensing fees. Sorry, Mickey Mouse, you won't be able to send your kids to college anymore since Ruroc shafted you. And for us consumers, this slimy tactic doesn't look very good in terms of brand trust and goodwill. One of the most relevant parallels to this situation is what's gone on with KTM over the last year. They've seen leadership changes, asset sell-offs, production halts, questionable warranty practices, and manufacturing cover-ups that all exist within the confines of financial uncertainty. When a company is suffering as a result of their poor financial decisions, and more as a result makes more choices that ultimately hurt customers as a result of their initial shortcomings, it can tend to create a lot of distrust within the community. Riders think, were corners cut on my bike to keep costs low? Will they honor their warranty? Will the dealership I just got it from still be in business in a few years? Will I have parts support if they discontinue the model that I just bought? These anxieties push consumers away from the brand. I think with the KTM fiasco still front and center in the motorcycling world, riders are primed to negatively react to Ruroc's shell corp game. If they didn't already hate the company to begin with, this whole thing just screams red flag. But if Ruroc is hurting, it kind of begs the question, how did they get to this point? A few years ago, you couldn't open Instagram or YouTube in the motorcycling world without being slapped in the face with some sponsored post from a corporate mouthpiece talking about how awesome the new Ruroc helmet is. But now, things are kind of different. Ruroc first started as a snowboard helmet company before making helmets for motorcyclists, and lo and behold, their snowboard helmets were pretty universally panned as well. Unlike traditional motorcycle makers like Shoei, Arai, AGV, or whoever whose core identity is safety, functionality, and comfort, Ruroc went the other direction, leaning hard on design, branding, and marketing. It's been clear from the beginning what they deem as important as a helmet manufacturer. You don't see Arai making cringe ASMR TikTok videos with their helmets, do you? I mean, they take themselves a little more seriously than that. And I would sure hope so, because helmets are a priority for safety with a motorcycle. Ruroc helmets use over-the-top design choices like flashy colors, skulls, and fandom IP tie-ins from Marvel or Star Wars, because Ruroc didn't start making helmets because there was a shortage of high-quality, industry-focused models already on the market. I mean, clearly there's plenty of world-class helmets already available. They specifically wanted to make helmets that stood out on social media so people would click affiliate links. Something that's unique to Ruroc compared to every other helmet company is that they operate with a direct consumer model. They sell primarily through their own site, funneling customers in through social media and paid affiliate influencers. They don't work with distributors where their helmets would end up being sold by online giants like Revzilla or being stocked on shelves at local cycle gears. With this model, they have more control. They don't have the scrutiny of the middleman, and they don't have potential customers seeing their options of helmets in person in front of them. Now look, this isn't necessarily evil, but it puts them in a position where potential customers approach the brand with far less scrutiny than compared to other long-standing competitors. I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? If you were to grab a Ruroc and an Arai, you're probably gonna pick the Arai. Ruroc's illusion of success and ultimate demise is directly connected to influencer marketing. From early on, their entrance into the motorcycle industry was clearly intertwined with motorcycle creators. Off the top of my head, I can think of Chase on Two Wheels, Jake the Garden Snake, and Blockhead Moto, all very prominently featuring Ruroc helmets as main channel sponsors. Not only were their helmets exclusively shown in videos on those channels, they were also the subject of countless review-style videos. But I think we can all say in agreement, you can't fairly review a product if you are being paid monthly to promote it. That's an obvious conflict of interest. Most of the creators who had long-term sponsorships from Ruroc have all since split ways. And I'm sure there are countless reasons why most are moving away from the brand, but as someone who has multiple times been courted by Ruroc to be a sponsored rider, I think the number one reason has to be how damaging it was to your reputation. There are many instances of high-profile influencers or creators being paid to promote a product that ends up being a total scam or a piece of garbage. Keto pills, brain supplements, Ruroc helmets, it's all the same in my eyes. If you want to maintain trust and respect with your audience, you have to do the due diligence before signing on the dotted line. So now, years after Ruroc's entrance into the market, where the community sentiment is, these are $200 helmets being marked up as $600 helmets, anyone who's been singing their praises for the last few years now looks like a fool. Remember NBT riding pants, the highly marketed brand being shilled by influencers online that ended up to be Chinese knockoffs that were drop shipped with no CE certification? Yet these influencers were tricking their audiences into buying them because NBT was cutting them checks. Yeah, that's not a good thing to do, and it's why you never see us do it here on Yami Noob. On one of the many highly active posts on Reddit about Ruroc, a user commented the following, quote, "Chase on Two Wheels has decent content, but I can't take him seriously while he peddles Ruroc. There is an infinite social proof and influencer fatigue, and Ruroc is one of the biggest offenders in the motorcycle space." Now, riders don't just hate on Ruroc because of their prevalence amongst paid sponsored riders. They also tend to hate Ruroc because their helmets are genuinely a bad value proposition. When it comes to safety, only more recent models like the Atlas 4.0 and EOX meet modern ECE 22.06 safety standards, which many earlier versions just simply lacked. Purchaser feedback doesn't point to a total failure during a crash, but instead to ancillary performance and build quality issues. They're known to be noisy, poorly ventilated, and have poor quality control standards. So what are you paying for with Ruroc then? Well, it's marketing and licensing, not R&D or higher quality materials. This isn't just my opinion, there's a ton of social proof. Quote, "You're paying for their licensing deals to put Avengers or Star Wars on the side of your helmet instead of investing in components, R&D, and generally a better helmet." Another quote, "Their quality control is genuinely terrible. Paired with the price, there's much safer helmets out there for the same price point." And how about another one? "They are low quality, ugly helmets for new motorcyclists who want to look cool without knowing what's good." You ever notice how there's no serious track day guys or professional racers using Ruroc helmets without being explicitly paid for it? Because people who are serious about motorcycling want a helmet that is not only safe but functional in a way that improves their riding experience, and that means they're going to go with a reputable brand. Ruroc's abuse of intellectual property and exploitation of infantile fandoms to sell motorcycle helmets is worth discussing, since that is clearly where they're investing all of their money. At least here in the USA, people are obsessed with franchised IP, Star Wars, Marvel, DC, Disney, etc. Fans will buy anything with the biggest logos and licensed artwork. Ruroc rides this wave by slapping IP tie-ins on their helmets. This licensing costs so much money. Art, royalties, licensing, compliance, approvals, every Marvel or DC themed helmet creates a massive cost for Ruroc. In American pop culture commentary, analysts frequently note how franchises monetize fandom by selling branded lifestyle goods, often with very thin functional value. Brands can seize the identity currency of fandoms. Ruroc taps into that same emotional identity currency, saying that now you can wear your fandom on your head. So instead of investing more heavily in materials, quality, or engineering, with Ruroc, you pay extra for emotional branding. And look, this is just my personal opinion. I don't like all these fandoms. I'd much rather have a livery of some awesome racer from back in the day or some special commemorative thing about the brand of the helmet. That feels more like a motorcycle tie-in to me rather than Baby Yoda or the Joker. Ruroc's direct-to-consumer model amplifies this problem. As I mentioned earlier, selling via their own website bypasses third-party retailers. This means you can't try their helmets on in the store. There's no distributor feedback or sales data, returns are a little more complex, and there's a general increase in friction for dissatisfied customers. If consumers could go to a store and see a Ruroc directly compared to a Shoei or an Arai, no one would ever buy one. I mean, I think that's just a fact, right? All returns, warranty claims, and general customer service needs to go through Ruroc directly, so there is not the opportunity for retailers to mediate disputes. It also doesn't give the opportunity for a consumer to go to a store and talk to an employee who actually works there about the products. This essentially gives Ruroc more control in how people interact with their brand, but it also has led to many customer service horror stories relating to structural defects, poor refund or repair follow-through, and missing free promo items like the silly proprietary Bluetooth comm system. This quote summarizes the situation perfectly. If you want to see the truth about Ruroc, see what reputable retailers and professionals who wear them say about it. Oh wait, you can't, because no legitimate seller or rider will touch Ruroc with a 100-foot pole. So let's summarize. Are Ruroc helmets inherently unsafe? Probably not in most cases. Many models now meet the ECE standards. But do they provide good value? No. Are they helmets you can trust to be consistently well made? No. Are they a company that you can trust to be honest and transparent with their customers? Definitely not. With Ruroc helmets, you're paying for them to pay influencers, you're paying for ridiculous IP and licensing fees, you're paying for a marketing team to create super flashy promotional materials. What you don't get with Ruroc is top-tier materials or consistent quality, you're not getting excellent comfort, functionality, or usability, you won't get proper support or customer service should issues arise, which seems to be pretty often. Ruroc and their army of influencer shills are I guess should I say former shills, have overpromised and underdelivered. I think that they disrespect their customers by presenting themselves as a premium brand with mid-tier products. Riders were already tired of seeing them promoted by countless motorcycle influencers, and once those creators backpedaled on their support of Ruroc, it only made things worse. The current financial situation Ruroc finds themselves in creates further distrust and bad will within the industry, and their self-imposed administration shows that the community has caught on and they're voting with their dollars when it comes to Ruroc. The greater consumer landscape is rife with distrust for brands whose main marketing avenue is social media. Motorcyclists are no exception. Ruroc invested too heavily in the wrong things from the get-go, and as a result, they were doomed. People just simply want well-made products that provide good value for money. And since the community has all but tanked Ruroc's reputation, I'm not sure how many more people are going to be spending $600 on an Iron Man limited edition Ruroc helmet. So, what do you think about Ruroc? If you've had a terrible experience with one, let me know in the comments down below. If you think the hate is overblown, let me know too, but be prepared to be challenged with all the Arai owners in the comments section. Thanks for watching it all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it. And as a reminder, we don't shill for crappy brands here on Yami Noob. We only shill for our own website, which is powered by our community, which I think is pretty cool. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.